You ever get that feeling like you're a total fraud and at any second, everyone's going to figure it out? We call it imposter syndrome. But here's a wild thought. What if that feeling isn't a problem to be fixed? What if it's actually a map, a hidden map leading you back to your true self?
Oh, that voice. You know the one. That little whisper in the back of your head when you're in a big meeting, or when someone pays you a compliment. It's that sinking feeling that you were just one wrong move away from being completely exposed.
So let's just flip this whole thing on its head for a minute. Drawing on some incredible insights from the psychologist Carl Jung, we're going to explore this idea that the feeling isn't a defect, it's a guide. Think of it less like a bug and more like a feature, a notification from a very deep part of you that's trying to get your attention. Okay, let's officially start digging into this. Where does that nagging, I'm a fake feeling actually come from? And more importantly, what is it trying to tell you? So, the textbook definition calls it a cognitive distortion, which is just a fancy way of saying your brain is kind of lying to you. It means you just can't seem to own your own successes. You get a promotion, you nail a project, and instead of feeling proud, you immediately tell yourself, oh, that was just pure luck, or, well, I must have fooled them again. All right, clue number one in this whole mystery. To really get why you feel like an imposter, we have to talk about something Jung called the persona. The persona is basically your social mask. We all have one. Think back to when you were a kid. You figured out really fast which behaviors got you praise and which ones got you in trouble, right? Maybe being the helpful one or the smart one got you a pat on the back. So, boom, you put on that mask. It's a totally normal survival tool. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. The problem isn't having a mask. The trap is when you forget you're even wearing it. You play a part for so long, you start to believe the costume is actually you. And deep down, your subconscious knows it's an act. And that's exactly where that feeling of being a fraud starts to creep in. So that leads us right to our second clue. If the persona is the mask we show the world, what exactly is it hiding? And this is where we get to one of Jung's most powerful ideas, the shadow. Think of the shadow as this psychic basement. Every single part of yourself that you were ever taught was bad or unacceptable, your anger, your vulnerability, your self-doubt, it all got shoved down there, into the dark, all to make sure that shiny, socially approved mask stays perfectly in place. And this really lays it all out, doesn't it? You've got this split. On one side, there's the persona. That's your highlight reel, the good parts you consciously show people to get approval. And on the other, there's the shadow, all the unacceptable stuff you hide away to avoid getting rejected. One is the role you play, the other is the real you that got pushed aside. Now, here's the part that really changes the game. We hear shadow and we think it's just this scary closet full of bad stuff. And sure, the anger and fear are in there, but so is your ambition, so is your raw creativity, your power, even your joy. I mean, think about it. Were you ever told not to be too much or too loud or too selfish? Well, guess where all that powerful energy went? Yep, straight into the shadow. Okay, time to put the pieces together. We've got the mask, the persona, and we've got the hidden self, the shadow. So how do these two things solve the mystery of why you feel like such a fraud? That feeling of being an imposter? That's the friction. That is the sound of these two parts of you at war. It's a distress signal. It's your real hidden self crying out for air from underneath the weight of this perfect mask you're trying so hard to maintain. And hey, have you ever noticed this? You get the big win, you achieve the goal, and instead of pure joy, you feel this wave of dread. That's your shadow freaking out. See, your success makes the mask bigger and shinier, which puts it in a brighter spotlight. And to the hidden parts of you, that feels incredibly dangerous. So it slammed the self-sabotage button, that I'm a fraud feeling, to try and pull you back into the safety of being small. And listen, keeping all this stuff locked away in the dark has a cost, a huge one. It shows up as projection. When someone just gets under your skin and you can't figure out why, you might be seeing your own shadow in them. It's why we self-sabotage right when things are going great. It's why we have these huge emotional blow-ups over tiny little things. And it is absolutely exhausting. The energy it takes to keep that lid on is immense. So that brings us to the real million-dollar question. What in the world do we do about it? How do we resolve this internal battle and finally stop feeling like we're just playing a part? And the answer might not be what you think. The goal isn't to destroy your shadow. You can't. The goal is to integrate it. It's about turning around, walking down into that psychic basement, and flipping on the light. You bring those lost, exiled parts of yourself back into your life, so their energy can start working for you instead of against you. You see, the point was never to be perfect. The point is to be whole. So here's a really simple, practical way to start. 3 steps. First, just notice. Start to become aware of when your mask is on autopilot. You know that totally wiped out feeling you get after socializing for a while? That's a huge clue. Second, listen. The next time that imposter voice pipes up, instead of fighting it, just get curious. Gently ask it, hey, what are you afraid will happen? You'll be amazed at what comes up. And finally, step 3, act. Take tiny little baby steps toward being more real. Say, I don't know, in a meeting. Share an honest opinion. Every one of those small, authentic moments chips away at the mask's power. Let this really sink in for a second. You are not a fake. You are a very real person who just learned how to play a role to stay safe and be accepted. And that's okay. But you're allowed to stop performing now. You're allowed to take the mask off. So that brings us right back to the beginning. If that nagging imposter feeling isn't a flaw, but a map pointing you toward all the powerful, real, and vital parts of you that you've hidden away, then there's really only one question left to ask. What part of yourself is waiting to be seen?